What's up, man? It's a report that Antonio Brown, wide receiver from the Pittsburgh Steelers, he's requested a trade. Not sure if it's true, but my thing is this: he didn't play in their last game. They really needed to win that game, and they needed some help from the Browns to beat the Ravens for them to get in the playoffs. Which they won a game and the Browns ended up losing, but to me, that's not the point. The point is they really needed Antonio Brown. I guess something happened in practice. It's a reports that he threw a football at Big Ben. I don't know if that's enough to get him, reprimanded or whatever. Big Ben said that didn't happen, but and Big Ben also said that he tried to call Antonio Brown. He didn't answer the text. He didn't answer the call. So who knows what happened in practice really? I guess it will come out later in the coming days or whatever. But for Antonio Brown to miss practice. Now he didn't. They did not. They did not suspend him for a game because he threw the football at possibly threw the football. You know they suspended him because he did not show up to practice for like 3 days straight, and probably in the biggest game of the year. You have to win to get in, and yes, you need some help, but you have to take care of your business first. And for him not to show up to practice. Now, this ain't the only time. Now, he did it early in the year, and it said it was a personal emergency or something like that. But he got fined. You know what I'm saying, for not showing up to practice. Antonio Brown been yes, he got a ticket. He did get a ticket for going over 100 or whatever. He got a speeding ticket, and it's just Antonio. The Facebook Live last year. They gave him a big contract. Yes, Antonio Brown deserved a big contract that he got. I'm not saying he did not deserve it. And yes, he's a tremendous wide receiver, the best wide receiver in the game. It's between him and Julio Jones. You know what I'm saying? And my thing is this: Antonio Brown just act like a knucklehead a lot of times. Like I really didn't hear a lot about Antonio Brown antics up until like only I started hearing about him last year. With the Facebook Live and all that stuff. But before that, I didn't hear anything about Antonio Brown. You know what I'm saying? So has he just recently became a diva? I doubt it. Most wide receivers are divas, by nature. You know what I'm saying? They want the football. And all wide receivers ask for the football. All wide receivers get on their quarterback for not getting the football enough. So Antonio Brown is no different in doing that. They all did it. Jerry Rice did it. Shannon Sharp did it. Shannon Sharp was a receiver slash tight end. Michael Irvin did it. A lot of them guys did it. But this is the thing. You always got to be your best ability is your availability. And if you're not gonna be there for your team when they most need you, man, I don't know where your head is. Antonio Brown, he act like a head case sometimes. I'm not calling the man stupid or crazy or whatever, but you cannot go in the dumps when your team really needs you. You know what I'm saying? Psychologically, you have to be there for your team. Physically, you have to be there all in for your football team. You know what I'm saying? So you have to, yeah. Wait, what's up, man? What's up, man? You have to be there for your team, and if you can't be there for your team. Now, he requested a trade. Pittsburgh can't trade him right now. He just signed that big ass contract for Pittsburgh. They will take a big salary cap hit. I hear the salary cap hit that they will take us 20 million. You think the Rooney's about to trade this man and take a $20 million hit? No, that's not gonna happen. One or two things gonna have to happen. You know what I'm saying? Either they gonna have to sit Antonio Brown down. They're gonna talk to him and see where his head is. Are you all in for the team? We understand you want the football, Antonio Brown. All wide receivers want the football, and we understand you deserve a lot, most of the catches and most of the targets on the team. We understand that, but we cannot have these outbursts. We cannot have you acting like a head case and getting mad over this, over that, over that. You know what I'm saying? And not showing up for practice and can't be available for the game because we had to reprimand you. You know what I'm saying? Because we have a culture around here. We can't let you miss all them days of practice and not reprimand you. Now, could they have fined him? Now, I would have heavily fined him. You know what I'm saying? I would have took money out of his pocket. I would have heavily fined him and I would have played him in the game. But, Mike Tomlin probably has his rules. You know what I'm saying? He has his way of doing things. Bill Belichick did it to my guy in the Super Bowl last year. I guess he didn't. show up to practice or he was late for practice or something, he set him. So all coaches got their rules and they like to enforce them, or they lose their power or they lose their standing in the locker room. So that was the way Mike Tomlin wanted to do it. I can't argue with him. You know what I'm saying? It's like I really can't argue with Bill Belichick for doing it in the Super Bowl. Me, I would have heavily fined him and let him play in the game. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to punish the rest of the team that we don't have our best player here and it's giving us less chance to win. Now they did win the game, which was it looked better that they won a game on Antonio Brown because of this, let's say they lost the game and the Browns beat the Ravens. And people would have been like, man, if Antonio Brown was there, they could have been in the playoffs. You see what I mean? So Antonio Brown got some growing up to do mentally. Like just because he's 30 years old. Just because he's 30 years old, I don't mean mentally he's ready. He's mature. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't mature, to later in their life, and some people never mature mentally. I'm talking about on a level that you have to be thinking more than yourself when you decide that you don't want to show up to practice the remainder of the week on the biggest game of y'all season. You know what I'm saying? You just can't do that, man. I can't. To me, I can't trust Antonio Brown no more. If I was a football player on that team, especially a prominent player like a Juju Smith-Schuster or Ben Roethlisberger or anybody else that's a captain or got some standing on that team, or Mike Tomlin as a coach, how can you trust this man to be there when y'all really need him? When that man abandoned ship. He essentially abandoned ship. He's one of y'all best play. Antonio Brown is arguably the best player on the team. Now that Le'Veon Bell is no longer part of the team, he's the best player on the team. Imagine if Michael Jordan or LeBron James decided they don't want to play. You know what I'm saying? In the biggest game of the team's season, and they just say I'm out, or I'm not gonna show up to practice, and then I got to get reprimanded. You know what I'm saying? Reprimanded. I'm out mentally. I'm out physically. You know what I'm saying? That's ridiculous, man. Antonio Brown, grow up, man. You know what I'm saying? I know this it's been a tough year. I know Big Ben is not what he used to be. You know what I'm saying? I know Le'Veon Bell is not there. Like people thought Le'Veon Bell I'm pretty sure the players thought Le'Veon Bell was important, but I don't think they knew his importance totally until he wasn't there this year. Le'Veon Bell took a lot of pressure off Antonio Brown, as well as Antonio Brown take a lot of pressure off of Le'Veon Bell, and they all take pressure off of Ben Roethlisberger as he's getting older. You know what I'm saying? Each player each if you as many as good players you have on your team, they all take pressure off each other because not one player have to carry the load on their back. Now Antonio Brown, he expects to get a certain amount of targets a game, but you cannot get all those targets because Juju Smith-Schuster, he's emerged as being a comparable number two to you. You know what I'm saying? With a lot of talent. So you got to get him the football. You have to. The defense is already loading up on Antonio Brown, so Ben Roethlisberger would just be forcing the ball in there and having turnovers. You know what I'm saying? So Antonio Brown has to understand to have mentally has to have himself at a certain spot to where he understands that yes, some games I'm not gonna have as many as targets as other games. You know what I'm saying? I may have only 10 targets and catch the ball 7 times, but I have 2 touchdowns. That's better than having 20 targets and 10 catches and no touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? So you have to weigh, you have to put it on the weigh scale. Each game is going to be different. You know what I'm saying? If you don't understand that, I mean, maybe the Rooneys in Pittsburgh will have to bite the bullet and get him up out of there, because next year when he comes now, if he's requesting a trade and he's really serious about it, and if you don't trade him, what kind of person is he going to be next year? Is he going to be mentally all in, or is he going to be mentally checked out? You know what I'm saying? It's not going to give it his all on the football field, or just not going to give it his all mentally and physically. He's not going to be all in for the team. So do you bring that back in your locker room? I'm not sure that you want to do that. So like I said, Pittsburgh gonna have to sit down with Antonio Brown, have a long conversation, and see what that man's head is. If it's not where if you come out of the meeting iffy 50-50, if you come out the meeting 50-50, you don't know where he's at, where you stand with him, you probably gonna have to trade him, man. Like, listen, yes, he's a tremendous receiver, but before y'all gave him the contract, he was showing y'all different things. Just like with the Giants, with my guy and Odell Beckham. All that stuff Odell Beckham did before his big contract, the Giants still gave him the big contract. They're like, look, he deserved a big contract, but I don't mean y'all had to be the team to give it to him, but y'all gave it to him, and then his antics continue after. You can't be surprised that his antics continued after you gave him the big contract, because money don't make you different. Money just enhance what you really are already. Money just enhance. Let me say it again. Money enhances what you really are. Money is going to enhance that. If you allow obnoxious person, it's going to enhance it. If you're a person, decent person, like to do this, give things, or it's going to enhance that. It's just going to enhance what you are. That money was not going to change you know what I'm saying, Beckham. The money is not going to change Antonio Brown. They're not leaders. You cannot trust them two guys to be a leader. You know what I'm saying? You could trust them to be amongst the team, but you cannot trust them to be a leader. If Antonio Brown was a captain, he would not be a captain next year. You know what I'm saying? If I was players on that team, we would not vote him to be a captain. Plain and simple. Just like Antonio Brown, just like Beckham from the Giants. He can't never be a captain. You can't be a captain with that mental weakness that you have of going off all the time when things don't go your way, acting like a petulant child. That's how a child acts. A grown up supposed to be able to look at a situation and take it case by case. A child doesn't understand case by case situations. They just want what they want. But a grown up going through life and seeing different things, Antonio Brown, 30, Beckham is like 26, 27. They should understand by now that things cannot always go your way. Antonio Brown, you cannot always get the football. You can't always get the most targets in the game. You know what I'm saying? So football, a lot of pieces football is not like basketball. See, football players want to be like basketball players. They want to get all these touches, but football is totally different from basketball. Football, a lot of things have to go right as far as the 11 men on the field for a one play to happen. Unlike basketball, where one guy in basketball can make a difference on the basketball court, because in another thing, he can play both sides of the court. You know what I'm saying? So he got influence over more of the games of the game. And the star player gonna get most of the touches. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, man, Antonio Brown just need to grow up, man. Not monster is a good way, but a bad way. Yeah, not monster. Yeah. I hear you. I hear you. But Antonio Brown just needs to grow up, man. He's going to have to grow up. Like, really. Just grow up. The Steelers is a great organization. They drafted you. They paid you all this money. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you can be a better player mentally, I ain't saying physically, I'm saying mentally, because physically we know that Antonio Brown is a great player, but you have to have your mental merge with your physical. When you're 30 years old, by time you get about 30 years old into your 30s, at that time your mental and your physical should come together. You know what I'm saying? You can't at 30 years old, you can't have your physical all the way up here and your mental down here. You know what I'm saying? They have to meet each other. And you can even become a better player, Antonio Brown, a more efficient player. It's not about the touches you get. It's about the touches you get, what you do with the touches that you get. You know what I'm saying? So understand that too. It's not all about the targets. You know what I'm saying? Because up in Atlanta, my guy up in Atlanta, what's his name? He gets a lot of targets, but he barely gets touchdowns. I believe he has maybe 6 or 7 touchdowns on the year, but a lot of targets. You know what I'm saying? Antonio Brown, you got less targets than him and more touchdowns and probably just as many yards. So it's about being efficient. You know what I'm saying? It's not always about the accumulation of certain targets or touches. Just be efficient, man. Hey, thanks for coming through, y'all, man. I'm out. Thanks. Hey, thank y'all for coming through.